I've said it once, I'll say it again. There is no better high I get as an NBA fan than watching a ridiculous Steph Curry game. The man is 38 years old, and I'm still amazed when he is on one. You know what I'm saying? He's been doing this for more than a decade, and it still feels fresh every time it happens. Win or go home scenario versus the LA Clippers. The Clippers have the lead for 95% of this game. Steph Curry turns it up to 100. A game where leading up to it, they was telling us Steph Curry, because of the runner's knee, is going to be on a minutes restriction he's going to have a hard out of 30 minutes. In the last couple games leading up to this, that was the case. And then he got to 30 minutes in 1 second. The 30 minutes in 2 seconds. I'm like, oh snap, Steph Curry might be in for a longer, because it was 5 minutes left in the game. I'm like, there's no way with the season on the line. I don't care what the minutes restrictions say. There's no way with 5 minutes that they're going to pull Steph Curry out of this game, and they didn't. And obviously, it was the right decision. The man is just so electric. He was hitting so many shots, and the groove was going. He did a look away on somebody else's shot. Al Horford shot a three, and shout out to Big Al. We're going to talk about him in a second. Al Horford hit a three, and before it even left Al Horford's hand, Steph Curry was going underneath the basket to get back on defense because he knew Al Horford was going to hit it. The man got some type of superpower where he could just tell when the ball is looking nice. Al Horford hit a three in the left corner. Great three. Very next possession, a quarter three in the right. Listen, man. I'm just on cloud nine. I don't know what to say. I got a bunch of notes, but none of the notes even matter because Steph Curry had a Steph Curry game. You know what has to put salt into the wound? Not only are the Clippers season is over. It's over. The season is over. With 3 minutes left in this game. With a minute left in this game. You hear what feels like 15,000 fans saying, Warriors. We built this brand new arena where 1/4 of it is literally called the wall for the diehard NBA fans to be there to tune out the away fans, and still the Warrior fans ride deep and they take over our arena in a winner go home game. I would be heartbroken if I'm a Clippers player or fan right now. Actually, I'm so happy that the Warriors win because we at least get one more game with Steph Curry, which is cool. The Clippers let the world down, damn it. Let me pull up Tankathon real quick. The Clippers let the world down because right now the OKC Thunder projected at pick number 12. And if they got pick 12, y'all know I got to pull out this every single time. Okay, it stayed at 12. But how many times do we have to hit this before it jumps up? I mean, okay, it may not jump up. But the team that was dominant for the last 2 seasons have another lottery pick happening, guaranteed. And that lottery pick has a, let me see, what percentage chance? It has a 7% chance to jump up to the top 4. I've seen crazier things happen. So the Clippers let us down for that reason, for one. But just overall, to start off the season as bad as they did, to fight all the way back, to be in contention for a playoff spot, to be a game away from being in the 7-8 versus the Trailblazers a couple nights ago, and they lost that game to the Trailblazers to push them into the 9-10, and then lose the 9-10 to end the season, is rough. So let me get some flowers to the Golden State Warriors for keeping their season alive. Now they go against the Phoenix Suns, which should be an interesting game. It is in Phoenix, so we'll see. Warrior fans do travel, but I think Phoenix has a true diehard fan base that the Clippers just always will struggle to have. Where I don't expect to have a Warriors chat that loud in Phoenix, but who knows? Only time until we'll find out Friday night. Credit to Kristaps Porzingis. Couple big-time shots, one trailing 3 on their right wing, cash. Guy Santos, he missed that one layup, but after that, he was phenomenal down the stretch. Even Brandon Podziemski, who was always going to be an up-and-down player from eye test, had a couple possessions down in this one that we got to give him credit for. Steph Curry, obviously the MVP. Al Horford, great fourth quarter performance. But I got to tip the cap to Draymond Green. Draymond Green is still one of the best defensive players in the world when you need him to be. The fourth quarter, Kawhi Leonard scored 1 basket, and that was when the game was already over. He had a possession where he picked the pocket of Kawhi. You know what Kawhi Leonard was doing to people back in like 2014, 2015, where if you had the ball, Kawhi would just say, that's mine now. Draymond Green did that to Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi had a season where he had his highest point per game of his career. And in this one, he ended up with just 21 points on 17 shots. And a lot of that credit goes to Draymond Green. Also, a thing I noticed in this one, there were a lot of people with just blood randomly. Draymond Green had blood on his right knee. Darius Garland had blood on his right elbow and right here. It was another player who had blood. Right, it was just a lot of blood, just blood, sweat, and tears type of performance from the Golden State Warriors. So, shout out to Steph Curry. And listen, we're talking about the playing right. I don't think there's a ridiculously high ceiling for this Warrior team. I got a lot of love for the Suns, obviously. Whichever one of these teams make it to the OKC series, I'm just assuming it's going to lose in like 5 because OKC is that nice. But it would be cool. No disrespect to Devin Booker, Jalen Green, and all those guys. It would be cool just to get another Steph Curry postseason series. You know, it would just be. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm rooting for anything. But the experience that we just got, I don't know if anybody on the Suns can really give me that experience, you know? So if I could get just one game of that in the first round of playoffs versus the OKC Thunder, to damn it, sign me up. Sign me up for this one. Man, it's a tough game for the Clippers. To have it in grasp like that, and honestly speaking, there's a lot of reasons why you get down there in the stretch and things are a struggle, but one of them has to be, the All-NBA player, Kawhi Leonard, just not having enough juice down the stretch, right? They were looking for somebody to take them home. Darius Garland, obviously in a ton of foul trouble, and then eventually did foul out on a play where, it felt like they still had a chance. They're trying to get the ball in, and everybody's just standing. Nobody's moving, and they turn the ball over. DG gets back. He fouls, and then Ben Mathurin goaltends, and that kind of ended the game with Potts at the line there. But they just needed a Terminator type of performance from our guy Kawhi Leonard, and it never really happened. There were times where it felt like it was going to, but he never put it together for a full stretch, and ultimately that was going to be one of the reasons why they end up losing this game. Ben Mathurin was absolutely a bucket today. There was possession late in this game where, the Warriors have all the momentum, and it's 3 seconds on the shot clock when Benedict Mathurin gets the ball and he finds a way to the basket for an easy layup. And Candace Parker's on the broadcast like, I love that he didn't settle, and he didn't settle enough. So they had some pretty decent performances from some people. The one shot Darius Garland hit on that right wing, that deep 3-pointer, I thought that might have been enough to close the game out. Obviously, it was not. They end up losing. So the season is over for the Clippers. And, now I think their offseason turns into seeing what happens in the lottery, right? With them having the Pacer pick, if it's 5 through 9, they're hoping that pick drops and hoping that theirs doesn't jump up so they won't be the villains of the NBA if they give AJ Devonta to the OKC Thunder. All right, let's switch gears to the first game of the night, which wasn't nearly as exciting. Steph Curry, man, golly, what a guy. I can't wait to rewatch the highlights of this game before I go to bed tonight. I'm going to be just moving up. Anyway. There's not much to really say about the Orlando Magic that I haven't said already with this season. It is the most disappointing team of the entire year. You acquire Desmond Bane. I saw them as a team that was going to win 50 games. I thought that regardless of what happened on the offensive side of the ball, their defensive identity was going to be enough to hold them for the regular season. That was not the case. Granted, they dealt with a lot of injuries, right? Suggs is always out of the lineup. AB gets injured throughout the season. And then Franz, it feels like every game, even a game that he comes back, he limps off the floor when he bumps knees with Wendell Carter Jr. in this one. So it's just been a season from hell. But even with that, they lost their identity. There's obviously hella rumors about the locker room right now, so much so that it's like it's a guarantee no matter what happens. I think Jamal Mosey gets to the conference finals, they still gonna fire that man. But it's just been such a disappointing season. In the game like this, everything just showed itself on national TV. They're going against a team in the Philadelphia 76ers as a good team, but they are without their MVP. They're without one of the most dominant players in the league right now, and you still weren't able to capitalize. There's times in this game where it did just feel like Maxey had to try to put that backpack on, and they didn't do anything to kind of make it really difficult for Tyrese Maxey. VJ had a couple possessions where his athleticism stayed above all. Paul George had a couple shots, but for the most part, it was Tyrese Maxey and Drum hitting corner three. Like that was it, and they couldn't overcome that. Even with Desmond Bane having a 34-point game, I thought Desmond Bane for the first quarter of this game, I'm like, oh, this ain't looking good. He ended up being the best player on the court for this game. So you had the best player on the court. You have the advantage of being healthy in comparison to your opponent, and you still can't even put up 100 points. Paolo Banchero, it's a tough experience. There was possession in this game where this is third quarter, fourth quarter, Paolo Banchero has the ball with four, like they swing him the ball on the right wing with like 4 seconds to go. Not a soul within 5 feet of him at the 3-point line. And instead of taking the three, he did a one dribble pull up into a defender and tried to draw a foul instead of taking the open three. Now, granted, he was 0 for 4 from threes at that point, but it doesn't matter at that point. That is the type of thing that really grinds the gears of the NBA fans that are out on Paolo Banchero. Because even though we know that you're not a great 3-point shooter, that 3-point shot that you're 30% chance of going in from 3 is better than you drawing the heavy mid-range jump shot, which has way less. As one of the most inefficient long 2-point shooters, just take the damn 3. Now, Paolo is going to be the main topic of conversation when people talk about this loss for the Orlando Magic, but nobody else came along for the ride with Desmond Bane. Again, we talk about Franz Wagner and him bumping knees and him being in and out in the lineup. It's just been another game where Franz Wagner just kind of existed in a lot of this one, you know? And he might just still be dealing with a lot of injuries, but at the end of the day, you're on the court, people expect you to produce. Jalen Suggs can't hit a shot. His whole career is like this when it comes to the 3-point shooting. A great 3-point shooting day for Jalen Suggs go a very long way. And unfortunately, they haven't been able to put a lot of those games together. They shot 25% from 3 this game. 25% from 3. And the only guy, there's like, I don't know. This goes to a bigger conversation about the 76ers the Magic more than just a singular game. But my main complaint about the Orlando Magic is their lack of creativity offensively. There's times in this game, I have in my notes right here, the only person moving and not watching the ball is Jamal Cain. Jamal Cain had a couple backdoor cuts that, one of them I think he got for a layup or something. But a lot of them, they just kind of go unnoticed and everybody else is just watching. It felt like AAU basketball. These guys have never played ball together, but it's the top talent of the city. They happen to be on the same team and they saying, yo world, cook them, bro. Nobody's cooking anything on this team. Again, Desmond Bane had a great phenomenal game, so he's the only guy that's cooking, bro. But everybody else is just sitting and watching. And when Dale's impact is just like kind of on the glass tonight, it was bad, y'all. It's really, really bad. And I hope that the Charlotte Hornets take care of business and get these boys out of here, man. I don't have any personal, they have hella players that I truly, truly like. But I want this season to end for them right now. This season could not get any worse. Just let it be over. Fire Jamal Mosley, and let's figure out what this offseason looks like. I'm seeing the trade machine on Twitter doing the goddamn play-in because people are waiting for this team to break up. And I don't know if they need to go that extreme, but if they did do it, I can't call it that crazy because it has not worked. I will pump the brakes on that, by the way. I do want to still see these guys get healthy and get a better coach in there before I decide, we can't win with Paolo. We can't win with Franz. Because I think if you make Franz Wagner available for whatever reason, there are going to be a lot of GMs calling, even with this down season and this injury-riddled season. So I think we all should be Charlotte Hornets fans. You know who's also Charlotte Hornets fans on Friday? Memphis Grizzly fans. Because literally I bet they didn't expect to be in a position to maybe have another lottery pick this season. Again, if we go over to our good old friend Tankathon, right now that pick is 16th. But if they lose that second playing game, they jump to the 14th team, which gives you a 2.4% chance to jump up. But even if you don't jump up and you're the Memphis Grizzlies, the Grizzlies have done a really good job drafting throughout the recent history. So even if it is just the 14th pick, hey, man, we already feel like we're winning the Desmond Bane trade, at least a little bit. Shout out to Steph Curry. Man, I was thinking about this earlier today, about how, like, Steph Curry was one of, and I don't want to give him full credit here because I'm just kind of just speaking in his recap. He was one of the first super unselfish superstars that I remember watching, right? A lot of the people that I remember growing up and idolizing as an NBA fan weren't the most selfless on the court or off the court, so much so that one of my favorite players as a grown-up, as a kid growing up, ended up retiring because they asked him to come off the bench. You know what I mean? So we hadn't had in the 2000s just a bunch of super selfless superstars. Steph Curry felt like one of the first ones I remember, and like a lot of stars that are players that are turning into stars recently over the last decade or so. I can't help but to think that Steph Curry had become the model of what it takes to be a superstar in the league, and part of that is the selfless nature of it. I was just kind of thinking about like the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown dynamic over there with Boston. how like for the first however many years of them playing together, Jason Tatum was the prize jewel of the core of the duo, and Jaylen Brown's just cool. Like I'm gonna go into these playoff series, I might be better than Jason Tatum in certain series. He might be better than me. I'm gonna win a Finals MVP, and then or Jaylen Brown does that, and Jason Tatum goes down, and Jaylen Brown's like, hey, I'm still can do this, and then Tatum comes back and he's completely okay with being like, oh, this is Jaylen Brown. Like it's just a bunch of selfless stars across hoops today. And I'm gonna give credit to Steph Curry because he was the first one I can remember off the top of my mind that truly was like, oh, one of the two best players in the world when it comes to my team, say less, let's have a party. And not feel no type of way about not winning Finals MVP in the 2 years that they won together. Like, I don't know. Steph Curry is I guess I'm glazing.